So far so good on the Sorento, really impressed with it. We've lowered the tyre pressures down to about 16.5, 17 psi because it's a really windy day and it's quite wind blown on the beach, so the sand is very soft. What we've found is that with the fantastic torque that this motor has, about 440 odd newton meters, and starts in around about 1800 revs, it is just powers along over the top of the sand. It's beautiful to drive, actually. Really impressed. At the moment we're kicking along at around about 50 k's an hour, doing about 2000 revs because we're in some really soft stuff. If we were another 20 foot down the beach, we'd be in the harder stuff and we'd be doing probably about 1500 revs. And it's just ticking along beautifully. Not an issue at all. Very impressed with it, actually. We're cruising along now at about 1500 revs, doing about 40 to 50 k's an hour. Sand is very wind blown, although it's a little bit harder underneath, and the car's not struggling at all. We turned the traction control off because that really made a difference. Okay, one of the key things you need to understand when you're driving in an all-wheel drive as opposed to a four-wheel drive vehicle is because it's only got one range, you need to turn the traction control off when you're driving on the beach. Driving in sand is all about momentum because what you're doing is your tyres are pushing up sand in front of the tyre and building up a wall that you've got to constantly get over. Hence the reason why we drop the pressures down so that you're actually floating on top of the sand rather than digging into it. It won't take long to realise how quickly you come to a stop if you hit the brakes in sand. It just automatically just digs in straight away. What traction control does is it applies the brakes if it feels wheel slip, and that's just the killer of momentum. So in an all-wheel drive vehicle particularly, and even in a four-wheel drive, turn the traction control off because it will slow your momentum and make it a lot more difficult to drive. Okay, just in front of us there is Tin City on the beach up at Stockton. These are all tin shacks that like old fishing shacks that have been added onto over the years. Power sources in there, water tanks. I tell you, I don't know I'll be all that keen to stay here during summer, but other than that, it's fascinating, really. Never been inside one, would like to at one stage. You can see down this end of the beach, there's a lot more sea mist. We're going to get up into the softer sand, and this is really soft sand down here because it's really wind blown, so the car actually does it a bit harder. It struggles a bit more, and it's still going pretty good, but it struggles a bit more, and you need to just sort of be a bit more careful about how you're driving. It'll tend to want to find its own path through the sand, and to a certain extent you've got to let it do that. Of course, the Sorento too, very comfortable place to be. It is absolutely blowing a gale outside and we can just hear a little bit of wind noise inside. Comfortable, air conditioning on, really enjoying the beach. This is what all-wheel drive SUVs are all about. I think a lot of the Japanese manufacturers could learn a thing or two from the Koreans at the moment in terms of the motors. This is a gem of a motor. Well, that's it for the Kia Sorento, day at the beach. I've got to admit, I'm really impressed with this car. If you're just looking for a car to take the family down to the beach, bit of a picnic, boogie boards, esky, it's fantastic actually. You'd really have to consider this over one of the larger four-wheel drives if you're not genuinely going four-wheel drive. Look, it stuck with the two four-wheel drives we had for the day. It cruised along just as easily as they did. It got a bit sort of gnarly in the sand dunes back there, and there's a few places we couldn't take it, but you wouldn't want to take this there anyway. But other than that, it performed perfectly. In fact, it was great. This combination of 6-speed automatic and that 440 Newton metre torque motor, it's just a gem actually. So yeah, have a good look at it. It's a great car for a family day, fun at the beach. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.